For any of my followers who say or think things like, how could somebody possibly vote for Doug Ford after all of these scandals, this video is for you. Because the same voters in the GTA who keep Doug Ford in power are also the same voters in the GTA who got Trudeau elected multiple times. Because there is a not insignificant 10 to 15% of people who have voted for both parties. So Ford got about 41% of the vote, which gave him 67% of the seats, which resulted in 100% of the power. A prime example of why we need electoral reform, either ranked ballot or mixed member proportional representation. Similarly, Trudeau's 33% of the vote resulted in significantly more than 33% of the seats. Because as you can see here in this graph, his vote share was significantly smaller than his seat share. And specifically in Ontario, Trudeau got 39.3% of the vote, but 78 out of 121 seats. That is 64% of the seats, almost the exact same amount as Ford. And a lot of the seats that went for Ford in the provincial election went for Trudeau in the federal election. I live in one of those ridings. Also, once again, a great example of why we need either ranked ballot or mixed member proportional representation. So why does this matter? It matters because a lot of the times the people who will put aside the scandals, the people who will still vote for whatever party is either incumbent or otherwise will continue to vote the way they want to vote, these aren't people who are always ideologically motivated. Yes, there will always be 25 to 30% of the population that will continue to vote conservative no matter what. But the conservatives need to go beyond that to actually get elected. They need to hit 42% of the vote if they want to either outright win an election or get a majority. Like, they can win with less, but it's actually harder for them in our system because the overall vote share doesn't matter to them. There's some ridings that they win with 60, 70% of the vote, and then others where they either win or lose by 1%. So what really matters is that 10 to 15% of voters in the GTA who will swing between the Liberals and the Conservatives, both federally and provincially, a lot of whom have this ideology about them where you can't have the same party in power both provincially and federally because for some reason that's not good. I have heard this rhetoric from so many adults in my life, including ones who won't even vote for one of those parties, but they still insist and believe in this ideology. So regardless of whether it's federal or provincial, instead of thinking to yourself, I can't believe these people are still voting for XYZ party and politician, even with all the scandals, start thinking to yourself, how can I show people that there's a better way or another way? And for you, regardless of whether that party is the NDP, the Liberals, the Greens, or the Conservatives, what's important is that we have people who are engaged and actively care about politics. And I know that it's tough, but for these people who vote for both Trudeau and for Ford, you're not going to convince them with scandals. You need to convince them otherwise.